Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning for some of us, good Monday morning for some of us here in our Zoom poetry studio for Cultivating Voices live poetry on this June 5th or 6th, depending on your time zone and where you're joining us from. A welcome also to those of you who may be watching us live on Zoom from our Cultivating Voices live poetry page. I'm Sandy Yannone, your host today for our reading with our Poets Focus on the theme of growth. And as we've been talking in the chat before we went live, we've been talking about the nature of how we choose these themes, and Kim Ports Parsons and I will often get together and kind of noodle about them. And we were sharing that, we purposefully look for a word that allows for multiple perspectives and multiple interpretations. So we always look forward to seeing how the poets that gather to read with us today, or any of our Poets Focus readings, determine that they're going to interpret that word of the day. Well, again, we're very excited. We hope to have up to 12 folks reading, 5 minutes apiece in the open mic. For most of you, that'll be about, that could be 2 poems. As you all know, I'm a little light on the buzzer or the ringer, but I do want to get everyone in, and I understand that it's also a lovely, lovely day out on the East Coast. Of course, joining you today from Olympia, Washington on the West Coast. But I'm looking forward to this reading and then having us all go off into our evening, our morning, our afternoon with full of poetry and letting that propel us forward. Well, we have already over a half dozen folks that we're eager to hear from, and let us turn first to Gordon Ferris, and then we'll hear from Lesley Traynor. Welcome, and thank you so much for being with us here today. Yes, indeed.
Good evening, everybody. I'll read a few short poems. The first one is very old. I can't remember the name of it now, so I'm just calling it Childhood. When we were young, we made dreams of endless days, sunlight, bright and love, the touch and taste of grass chewed on street end green. The call of our mothers echoes through the evening dew heavy air to mark the end of day, making ready for their world. And this one is called Goodbye. The young man wept tears of regret over the old man's grey frame, fingers lightly touching the folded hands as he approached and passed off to find a solitary place to express his remorse, exercise his unexpected feeling of loss. The younger teenage brother passed the grey man's suited man, fidgeting, not knowing what to do, wondering why they had to touch the cold skin. The boys walked together, all the image of the grey man in his youth, all holding in the grief, tears falling to them, an unmanly action. They held the grey man's hand, kissed his forehead, whispering private words, saying goodbye. And the last one is called Putting the Words Down. All I ever wanted to do is put words on paper, but life got in my way, because love made my day, because a bigger love came along and joyously blocked my way. I envisaged the dilemma of Pandora, imaginings beyond her wildest temptation to open her wandering jar, her expectant prize, uncertainty, darker than her past was bright. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gordon. And as I try to do when we are doing the open mics, I try to keep my comments to a minimum. But again, I'm always grateful when we get to hear your work, and already thinking about like how words affect growth and can promote growth. And when you had the line about big love, I thought about, yeah, love grows too. So I'm looking for all these inroads. All right, well, next we will hear from Lesley Traynor, followed by Julian Matthews. Thanks so much,
everyone.
Lesley.
I'm going to read from my anthology, Thrawn, which seems to be about growth anyway. First one, let me be like water. Let me be like water, not a rock in the river, a free spirit, part of the flow, slipping forward without disturbance, expanding into the ocean, evaporating, forming a cloud, part of life's cycle, floating onwards, worry-free, gently raining on arid land, onto a boat, a pilot to roll me into safe harbor where life is calm, where I am like water. And I do have a mother who is, I would say, still has her country ways. So I was brought up with lots of sayings, and this is called hedgerow prophecy. My mother tells me she feels a change in the air. She knows these things and I should pay attention. The passage of geese tracks the seasons. She knows these things and I should pay attention. A hint of coconut breathed over the moor, the start of spring. She knows these things and I should pay attention. When cows lie down to chew the cud, bring your washing in. She knows these things. I should pay attention. Rain always comes from the west. Seafret gathers before Arran. Eaglesome moor pulls it down. She knows these things. I should pay attention. Soft rain soaks you through. Maize rain nourishes the skin. Headaches and curdled milk herald a summer storm. She knows these things. I should pay attention. Early rowan berries profess a hard winter. My mother knows these things. I should pay attention. My mother feels a change in the air. I pick bounty from hedgerows, preserve it for dark days, and watch geese leave. And this is the title of the anthology, and it's called Thrawn, and it's read at feminist rallies now, which is kind of incredible. And Thrawn means stubborn. It's a Scots word, and it's often used as a really derogatory term with women. So that's why I called it Thrawn. I am a dangerous woman with words that are fierce, can pierce, punch through barriers some would place in my path. They can reduce others to tears, highlight fears that only a woman would know. I am a dangerous woman. I have a voice and it will sing. It will ring with a truth. And when my words are hoarse, and bloodied from the battlefield. My fierce words will lift me, set me back on my true course. But this voice can soothe, embrace you in words that keep the weeping at bay, support you, hold you, until the day your own fierce words form in your mouth and you stand in this place and are free to have your say. Thank you.
Wow, Lesley. I mean, if the definition of, having a voice and free to have your say isn't about personal growth, I don't know what is. So thank you. Thank you for those poems. Also, I want to just remind folks, of course, please use the chat, send all the love to folks. And those of you reading today, of course, please feel free to put in the chat as well, links to where folks might be able to pick up your pamphlet or your book or anthologies where you're reading your work from today, and anything else. Please use the chat generously to send out information to our audience. Beautiful. Well, next we will hear from Julian Matthews, followed. Yeah, Rawle will be next. Yes. Great. Thank you, Julian, for being here in the morning.
Hi. Two poems. The mirror called us. A mirror reflects who we are, but a mirror shows right has left and left has right. A right hand raised as a fist is actually your left. A left hand held out to shake is actually your right. Shut one eye and the other still watches. Shut one ear and the other still hears. Once I broke my right arm and was in a cast, took a photo in a mirror with my left hand, posted it on social media, and two friends pointed out that it was my left arm that broke, not the right. Even though you could clearly see the phone's reflection in the photo, as if I wouldn't know my left from my right. Hey, it was my arm that broke. In school, I recall a friend in class told me how his grandmother beat him just for writing and drawing with his left hand. The grandmother logic, we were told, is we eat with our right, wash our bums with our left. He forced himself to switch, but then showed me he could still write and draw on the sly with both hands. I learned the word ambidextrous that day. I notice how people in online threads always need to point out what they think is wrong first, not what's right. How opinions quickly form based on scrolling down timelines and streams, always fault finding, picking sides, team A versus team B, team Chris versus team Will, team Johnny versus team Amber, favoring the shallows over depth, skipping pebbles on waves instead of contemplating calmer waters from a rock. This is how the world unspools. No empathy for suffering fools. Just a binary that the left is always right and the right is always wrong, or vice versa. Like the duality of the glass being half empty or half full, perhaps pointing out the other's emptiness eases what's missing within emptiness. Preempts empathy then. Maybe emptiness is just a reflection of our own increasingly petty, empty lives, and no one notices the glass until it breaks. End poem. Second poem is called Vesper Flights. It's after Helen MacDonald's essay and book. I read about how some migratory birds crossing vast oceans nonstop can catch sleep in mid-flight. Just snatches here and there, and only at night. Sometimes with one eye open to prevent collisions. Isn't that how many of us lead our lives, under pressure, trusting the wind to carry us, letting the air catch our breaths? Maybe we just need to land and rest a bit. I left the sky because your blue was overwhelming. Yet I still hear your cawing in the distance, this constant pecking for mealworms under bark, this incessant annoying tweets on my shoulder, this furious fluttering poking at my eyes, sucking my tears up like nectar. I am my own prey now. I tuck my head under my own broken wings and let these talons dig deep into this unworthy flesh. I am evolving, flightless, more earthed now, a groundling. I'd rather crawl into my own skin than feather empty nest. Yet you say it was always about me. I say maybe. Happiness is a selfish thing with strings attached. You give in order to receive. They take and take and take until we both break. Some gifts are better left unwrapped. They are flying lessons in paper planes. We rise and fall, crash and burn. You fight the flow, then eventually learn to let go. Truth, yours and mine, are like currents. They can part in separate directions. Acts of faith can't be taught. They come late in flight. Being selfless doesn't come naturally to me. I need to find solace in other lost souls first. Only those who seek will be found, they say, but even amateurs can be profound. It may be a while before I can rise above it all, go high, crest the night sky, shut both eyes and trust the wind again. Perhaps I'll meet you there on mended wings and a final whispered prayer.
Oh,
Thank
wow. Thank you so much,
Brother Julian.
Julian Matthews. Beautiful, beautiful work today. Well, folks, you have joined us here live in our poetry studio for Cultivating Voices, live poetry on our theme today of growth, our poets focus. We've got a few more, I think three more places. This is my gentle encouragement. Oh,
yeah, we've had a couple, and you know, if you want to sign up, just put your name in the chat and we'll make a waiting list too, right, Sandy?
Absolutely. We'll
Okay.
go to the waiting list too, sure. We have today we have such a wonderfully intimate group. And so it's a great opportunity if you've not read with us and to be able to read. And oh, look, I'm loving the reading so far. Thank you so much, Julian. And our next poet is Rawle James, followed by Catherine Ronan. Thank you.
Hello, poets, fellow poets. Good to be here again. It's been a while. Hope you've all been well. I've pulled out three. I'll see if I can get through two. I'll listen for the gong or the hook coming to pull me out. I didn't realize it was a theme, so I kind of scoured through my poems to see which fit the theme. So I'll start off with this first one that's called Unrealistic Paradise. Excuse me. Pain and suffering weigh down the psyche like a ship's anchor as it threatens the cradle of creative and critical thinking that questions. The shame of reason is accompanied by thunderous guilt, and at times, We forget that life is a struggle by design. The gloom of pessimism hovers like the dark clouds of progress as it lifts a one-sided perception of an unrealistic paradise. We seek to make the best of possibilities into constraint as we balance the myth with the notion of our human brilliance. So out of the fertile earth memories of the ancestors beacon, as we venture into the digital clouds of metadata, and as we emerge from the paradigm of despair and ignorance, we fall into mayhem's merry-go-round and the ideology that binds us. It is only together we can experience the cycle of life, as the torch of time carries the DNA of generations past. Our cumulative choices yield the angst and depravity void of the light, as we unmask the shadows of consequences we still fear. The more things change, the more constant change stays. Today was yesterday's future. That's what powers the next dawn. For I am the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. We are to serve the purpose of life. For I am because you are. End of poem. And this next one is a work in progress, and I'm going to use you guys as guinea pigs, so bear with me. It's called The Stirring. In the beginning, there was only a hint of nothing that ignited atoms to collide, spewed the destructive forces into something. I was there to guide the emptiness into substance from first light. I was there to wipe away mother's eyes as she inhaled life into the waters. As we crawled to a new dawn, I was there as gills and fins were shedded and morphed into limbs that carried the burden of existence. And like volcanoes, we erupted into the dawn, carrying the burden shared by both beast and fowl, ushering in an understanding of chaos. And from the chaos came an order where grunts migrated into the early sounds of vowels and consonants, which laid the foundation for words that bridge our individual collective experiences. I was there as we toiled the land to produce the first harvest of grains that stretched as far as the eyes could see. I was there as you embraced the warrior spirit of the hunt, giving thanks for the destructive creative energies required for evolutionary progress. Dazed and confused like lambs that wandered away from the flock, confronted by the shadows of fear that heightened the perceptions of death. I was there. I am here as the muffled cries of temperate children whose tears of ignorance only blinds us from the light while we fear the dark. And as spirit stirs within to awaken us from the blind, deaf, and dumb, from this old agreement, and hopefully into the light of our human experience, we rise out of the ashes into the alchemy that goes beyond the duality's hold. I am here as the release of duality takes form in this age of transformation that has no predestined or cosmic plan, for you are the architect of your transformation to shine brightly in the form of truth as first light once did. The collective mind's eye sees the kinetic fiber of possibilities as molecules vibrate to create that bang amidst the mass chaos of technology, greed, and indifference. An expansion of life that spins forward on a cataclysmic explosion, tranquility igniting evolutionary purpose. I am here. And I am here as a spark beyond ignorance and fear. For we are the answer to the questions of Yah's expression. The divine stirring of hope transmits inspiration and mastery of everything and nothing as we embrace the sweet surrender to the moment. I am here. End of poem. Thank you.
Rawle, you had me from just the title, the stirrings, and then transformation, evolutionary progress, harvest, so much about growth in that last poem in particular. Keep going with it, my friend. Yeah, keep going. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for bringing it to us today. It's like perfect for the theme, whether you're ready to contribute it for that way or not. Beautiful, amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, next we will go to Catherine Ronan. Good evening to you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
And then we'll hear from Martina McGowan.
Well, I definitely think there's alchemy in the room anyway this evening. Definitely. The standard is so high. Anyway, I won the 5-word challenge on the 9th of May with these words. The 5 words were angel, cowlick, leaves, moist, and lift. And I wrote about the pagan Celtic summer that was called Bealtaine in Ireland. So it's called Celtic summer. It is Bealtaine, and I pay my angel with the first lift of dew from fairy hosts. The light god Lu treats the buds to soft kisses, moist with promise. Leaves rebirth and children leave, and I cowlick every curl home as the mirror forgets my name. In the month of May, I still climb the hill of Ishnach to light the biggest fire ever and wash my face in new summer. And the second one I'm going to read is a thing I've studied where trees and humans are very much alike, like the same veins and a lot of similar structures. So I visited a place near Kinsale called Ports Parsons, which is a famine village and a graveyard, and it's very, very magical. And where trees and graves kind of almost like pair up together. I mean, it's called Roots of Desire. Your pulsing midrib traces my face, drawn from the light into the seeds of earthy womb. Mossy bones lie at your feet. Silver quivering magnificence throws off long veined has-beens. Turning away from the source, your bark groans today. Branches of your hair whisper thousands of secrets into the dark chamber where I wait until we reunite. You feed me with your leafy crown. I feast on your carbon autumn. Feel your heartbeat throbbing. Parallel veins grow and stretch. Our season is about to return.
Absolutely gorgeous. Whoa. I feast on your carbon autumn. And oh, I loved how you punctuated everything tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Catherine.
Thank you.
Thanks, and as I put in the chat, that's no small thing to take the cake, as I said, in the 5-word challenge at O'Vale. It's quite a thing to
it's very hard to win it.
Very hard to win it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So congrats.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, looking forward to hearing from our next reader. We'll hear from Martina McGowan and then Cynthia Steele. Welcome to you, Martina. So good to see you today.
I'm here. Thanks. Good to see you all. I'm more in the theme of works in progress. Learning to let go. First, we must free ourselves of our hubris, the arrogance of specialness, comfortably ensconced in personality types like A, B, or C, or perhaps another familiar family, AC, ADHD, or OCD. Carve away the dependence on stuff as the only measure of our worth. Those trinkets we feel the need, nay, the right to hold on to with no rational thought or justifiable belief. But it is not simply in the trimming of things or even our turning aside. The thorny bit comes in thinking we are the only ones lost and alone in this miserable state. We are not. We must learn to let go, for the loss of people and things will come to us whether we wish it or not. Learn to detach as nature intends, just as each year apples blush and fall to the earth and flowers bloom and die and bloom again. Denial is at the heart of our suffering. Joy is in learning to share our human pain, to unshoulder the burden of insularity and singularity, to pour our brokenness into each other's cup, to reach for the hand of another in the dark. Then together we might find our way back to ourselves and our way home. Thank you.
I started to type to pour our brokenness to each other's cup. Wow. And then I was like, oh, okay, I've got to go. Thank you so much. Yeah, so provocative. And yeah, I love when folks are bringing, you know, work they've published, but also like the work in progress. It's first of all, it's just an honor to hear work in progress. And it does really propel, I think it propels growth for all of us to hear work in progress. It encourages us to continue with our own work. So thank you. Thank you. Well, we'll now hear from Cynthia Steele, and
Hello, good morning.
I think you are alone on the couch today.
I know.
Well, yeah, you're not in the room, but yes. And I'm very, very glad to have you here today. And then we'll hear from JL Wright. So take it away, Cynthia. And thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good morning from the land of the Athabascan people and Alaska. So welcome from Alaska. So this is something I just wrote on growth. I thought I was growing wings when I flew out that window at 6, sprained both ankles. I believe you can fly still makes me smile. I can fly, children's book, little golden pack of lies, grown-up things. For the 13-year-old I adopted, her mother died of this disease, alcoholism. We said goodbye to her in the hospital. With she, age 36, she grew, my girl, said, that's not my mom. My own mother says, money doesn't grow on trees. But I said, no, it falls like fruit from men's pockets, who stayed over after pockets emptied on our living room floor. We gather the fallen money like berries, fruit on the ground, pears and plucked apples, and take it to the movies, growing it into popcorn, soda, no sense to just leave it laying like leaves. Glaciers grow, ice flows, portage we had in our arms, my sister and I in sweaters, teeth chattering with our father, enormous pieces of blue ice we never thought would diminish. Fish flourish, population growth, evidence, science, they return, the times of old, when bringing in a biggin return, and we embrace the influx with real hope and also fear. We grow old in this place called home and wonder if we can hold onto our lives and for how long. We grow wise and less capable of the taken for granted acts. We grow plants, flowers, fruit to keep that hope well alive, to keep eating well, appreciating beauty, colors before our eyes go. Because if we don't develop, we choose madness, even death. All right, there's one more. This one is about having the homes grow. My larger work is of 30 before 13, living in 30 different homes before I was 13 years old. So this sort of reflects that. It's called It's a Long Way to Tipperary for all the kids who moved. Lamps hovering over dimly lit streets flicker, glow. It's a street like this one or that one, like all of them. Emergencies, unpacking in the middle of the night. In the morning with the trash collection truck screeches. It's an apartment building where we look out on grass. From above the kitchen window, dirt, then snow, then grass. The building's still there. I can go back to photograph it. Some are not so lucky. Their homes are gone forever. I know because some of our homes are gone forever, evaporated. All of us, we moved across a street, down a way. Do you know this house then? I remember it when I was small. A fraction of a memory, glimpses, colors like South Dakota. A fantasy place with fields of sunflowers that go on forever. When I visited Grandma as an adult, I kept taking pictures. She thought I was a bit off, a bubble off, my nickname. Mama gave it to me because I don't adjust to moves. Instead, I had a pretend family who ate dinner in the corridor. We lost people in the moves. Some trailed away, other streets. My daddy got a different apartment, some roads away from us. We can't walk there and he comes by less and less. But oh boy, howdy. When he comes, he's full of smiles, lifts us high. It isn't true that where we live now is a place so unlike the others. The street comes together in places with huge spaces between. Last time we moved, it was different, I thought, but not this place. The places between are filled with places too, little multi-places. Neighborhoods all having their own names and everyone knowing them. Took me years to piece together where we'd been to. Was it like that for you too? Did you get lost going home from the bus? Oh yeah, we used to live there in that faded blue, light blue apartment, but now the brown with the laundry room in an outbuilding. But we moved from there when we were 3. Wait, no, that was just 3 times in 1 year. He's a man, he comes and goes. He owned a white work van. The people, they come and go, making chatter wherever they go. Mama said, be nice. We'll move to such a nice place. Wait and see. But my things are gone. My sister's things are gone. Don't cry. The fire engine roared in my ears when it started. The fire. Children with matches and nobody home. Just a prank joke game. The dogs caught distemper. I rode my bike. When puppy's paw caught in the spokes and she shrieked, but she's quiet now. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way from home. We moved because we have to. Keep a toy, get more later. They're only things. What's that you say? You lived in the same home your whole life? I didn't know that was a choice. Wasn't for us. We followed time. It marched on and we scuttled to keep up with it. How did you? We cannot imagine staying put even now. We must be running in our heads. Sister sold a perfectly good house. I built a she shed. What is it? Staying. Is it a wellness I'll never know? Now I'm grown. See this? It's my height chart for my whole life. My ears roar ocean. Don't mark on apartment walls. We just live there. We don't own it. Don't hang anything on the walls. No holes. Leave it how you found it. Thumbs the brakes, kid. Don't get all worked up. It's just a bed. It's just a pillow. It's just a dog. It's just a scene, like in a movie. It's just your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister sitting, not doing anything, much really, but being filled with a calmness, playing games. That's right, a puzzle, a word game, a kid game, Twister, Candyland, a place that's not tied up in a game. It's all a scene, a play, a time together. The music feels gone. It's echoey here. They're filled with plants and our things. Mine. Saying it's mine is suddenly selfish. Be grateful you're safe. Here, not home, but here. Know that you'll be here for a time. It's good. Smile. You look pretty when you smile. There's a grown-up boy. Kids will do fine. They adjust to changes. You know they're tough. Things slip from our fingers, but not from theirs. Were they blessed, but we're not? Are our planets unlucky? Was God busy that day? Do we have to accept this home? Do we get a choice? What if I'm not grateful? What if my heart cannot sing here? Or again, were you grateful you never had to move? Like some people like us? Were you grateful you weren't us? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Just thinking of that line, what if my heart cannot sing here? And again, the nature of movement being also about growth and growing up. You know, where do we grow up? How do we experience that growth? A really powerful addition to the theme today for our poet's focus on the prismatic, expansive word growth in all of its facets. Well, we have been moving along, growing together in our listening today. A very nice clip for our open mic on this theme of growth, about 5 minutes apiece. And we'll move next now to J.L. Wright, and then we'll hear from Isaac Cohen. Welcome. So glad to hear from you this afternoon, for me.
As well as me, I'm just north of you up in Bellingham.
Yes, indeed.
This is my first time joining you, so I'm really grateful to find you on a Sunday, rainy Sunday up in Bellingham, Washington. I'm going to read 2 poems today. The first poem is called Poem Number 22, written during NaPoWriMo in the notebook of 2021. This is forgotten. Forgotten, the hairs in the drain or those lying on the floor. Hate, a boulder rolling free and alone. A lie shouted in the light of day. Organized insight of a shared vision. Forgotten, the animal in a cage, a large leopard pacing at its gate. The taste of bitter chocolate, the last cold cup of coffee, a leathered fruit which cannot mother, a heart torn asunder by yet another shot. You'll forget labor pains until your child dies. The vows made and broken the first time around. A truth never told, or being forced to touch a toilet dirtied by a drunk. All forgotten as if you were impaired. My second poem will lighten up the mood. Spring Melody. Renewal upon the calendar, days in months, unused value yet unknown, unripened, unpicked fruits, seeds split by yellow-green life, from the ground emoting forth, nowhere in particular, of this year, this then, that is now, and above the fresh grass, sweet sod on which to grow, tangible fruits that are truths, seeds now rooted as the water came. I remember time's measure cheerfully, for when spring spreads out at last, settling into its warmth, to stay, how life changes, shifting from one poignant vision to another, forever in these eternal fields. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you joined us today. Beautiful, beautiful work. Thank you. You just folks, about 2 hours north of where I am here in Olympia. And I always think that, you know, the days are coming when I'm going to be able to meet people in person. So I hope maybe I can take a trip up to Bellingham sometime and we could do a reading, you know, from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, we move from Bellingham, Washington to our dear friend, Isaac Cohen, joining us from Israel tonight in your time zone. So we'll hear from Isaac and then from Ed Foreman. Thank you for being with us tonight, Isaac.
Yes, thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Don, and all my friends in the world. Today, I read two poems. One is to my mother, Mother Cohen, blessed memory. Isaac Cohen. David and Goliath. The great hero Goliath spoke to the Jewish nation. Choose a man to fight against me. The Israeli soldier Ash. Suddenly, one fine youth named David came and told the king Saul, I will fight. The king was concerned. How will you fight without weapon? David answered, I have faith in God. Goliath laughed. You came to joke with me. It made a summer salt in the air. He opened Goliath's mouth and said, you have a rotten tooth. He hit Goliath on the lower and upper jaw. Goliath collapsed and motionless. The Jewish nation cheered and joyfully defeated the Philistine. Faith can win over the biggest hero. The boat. A good secretary at the municipal service. One day he invited him for a walk together. They spoke a lot until they came to Lee Giant River. Danielle gave him a dummy box of caviar. The secretary opened the box and saw it was empty. Danielle told him that his behavior is without ethics. His soul lied to the basics of justice. The dragon came and threw on him rice of honesty. The secretary returned to his work. He became an honest secretary. He worked without blemish, like a white paper. Daniele De Stefano came again and said, "How wonderful to see a dragon boat light up. How wonderful to see a dragon boat light up." Thank you, Adi Cohen, Israel, and thank you, Sandy, and all my friends in the world.
Thank you so much, Isaac. It's so interesting that you should bring
Yes,
that poem
thank you.
today, because I was thinking about Goliath this morning, actually, quite a bit myself. So interesting that you would come and invoke Goliath today. Wow, amazing. Thank you. And thank you for the song of your voice. The song of your voice. Well, we are approaching we're nearing the end of our first 12, but everybody's sharing so wonderfully. We'll definitely go to how could I not? How could we not go to our wait list? So I look forward to hearing a few bonus poets today on our series. And next we'll hear from Ed Foreman, and then from Kate Clare Wegrzyn. Thank you, Ed, for joining us today.
Thank you. I just love everyone's wordplay every day, all day.
Great.
My name is Eddie Foreman, but my poet name is Ed Potastic. I'm here to make everyone feel fantastic. Please get a time to enjoy my rhyme, for all feel sublime. I got two pieces, so you know it's gonna rhyme. My first piece is called Symphony of Poetry. Poetry is livelier than any sunflower rose, without any explanation or logic goes. The sweet symphony of pure creativity, so appreciate the effects and its sensitivity. Sharp words fire straight to the heart, rain down through skies of vivid art. Each word's covered in emotions like fish dancing in the clear ocean, seated in a bouquet of colorful flowers, blossoming in a magnificent array of power. Writing, reading like dancing and singing, the parade of words is only the beginning. Notebooks telling us into a literary world, pages jumping off insightful and delightful spirals, shared by concrete or imaginative minds, lessons growing very personal design. The pleasure of constant desirable writing, patterns of free verse, limerick, haiku, or rhyming, reinventing tales of new, personal, and old, polishing them to shine like luminous gold. Oh, poetry, you allure me with your verbal melody, ears full of worldly fireworks to complete harmony. The lines sewed in this ugly yet beautiful universe, flowing words of true verse going straight on course. Please downpour us a radiant sight of weather. Shower us till we're redder or feel even better. Thank you. I got another piece. It's kind of a little bit adult, but I don't want everyone's heart to halt. This is just poetry, words of love, not assault. All right. This is called The Midnight Game. Here it is. If only you knew your warming glue of taboo. The wicked thoughts make our senses halt. The games I want to play with you, my sexy baby boo. Our limbs entangled, the bed on angle and mangle, yours and mine, exploring each other's crimson minds. Lip locked in kisses, turning on our deep buttons and switches, bodies entwined, being combined, redefined, analyzed, twisted sheets sizzling our juicy dancing heat, bed covering sweat from our burning silhouettes, drinking the creamy milk with a hint of honey and silk, moments so sweet, never missing a beat on repeat, digging into gaping holes, the place unknown, reaching the goals, flaws, regrets from, I forget, hours of embrace, staring at your flickering face, slowly sliding inside your crease for the sexual healing release. As I lie in your arms, I squeeze your chest, drifting off in this for a feisty mess. The after hours was a tsunami of rushing power, the grinding of bodies, reaching our silver linings, the jolting climax unleashed to the max towards our blissful heart attacks. You loudly call my name while I feed and rub your flame. I gently blush in shame from playing our midnight game. As I think of these fantasies traveling outside reality, my sweet escape keeping me and my snake awake, perhaps another day to make the daily gray go away. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoy my wordplay.
I'm sitting here in the daily gray and you made it go away. Thank you. Thank you so
What
much.
more can I say?
That's it, right? Like, yeah, check that off. Check. Thank you so much, Eddie. It's so great to have you with us today. I'm reminded, our next poet is Kate Wegrzyn, and Kate is always so fond of, and always so fond of telling me how much she loves it when we get to hear folks that read with us for the, for the first time, or that aren't sharing, that haven't read with us many times. So it's really great to have a number of voices today, isn't it, Kate? To get some new voices today. So welcome to you, my friend. And after Kate, I will remind you that we will be hearing from, gotta get to my list here. Sorry, folks. I just want to make sure I'm accurate in my assessment.
From Mick.
Oh,
Mick is
from Mick.
next.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to scroll a little bit. So thanks so much, Kate. Great to see you.
Hello, great to be here. I'm setting my timer to see if I can follow the yellow brick road. This is neither poem or prose, but illumination of growth. Counting tree rings for years of growth after they are cut down. I mark my growth and surprise myself of the calendar years that show the road that I've been on. Amazing to be taught by a mother who valued being a helper in this world. I can only give you one example, zillions, but one example was the fire engines went by our little neighborhood and we all came to the window and my mother got her coat and my father said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I'm going to see if anybody needs any help." "Oh, Mimi, stay home. Just stay home. I'll be right back, Stanley." She came back to the house and she said, "Okay, children, I want you all to pick one toy and one pair of pajamas, and we're going to bring them over to the house. The family will be staying with other people. Their house has burned down. They've lost everything." "Oh, Mimi, must you?" "Yes, I must." And off we went. Oh, the road to being a helper. How will my rings of life be counted? Growing in kindness to others. There were times when there was a bully that would, as I was coming to the house, he would let his pointed-eared dog out and say, sick 'em, Lacey, sick 'em." And I would stand firm. I knew not to run. I'd stand firm And when she would reach to me, almost with screeching paws, she would stop and sit, and I would pet her. Oh, has my growth been since then that now people trust me to move into their home and take care of their pets? Yes. What I did not know, loving was not forever. But when you are loving, I took in 3 children and cared for them as my own. I tried to continue with honoring and respecting their father, who didn't stay with us. He was busy. But those 3 children, the visiting continued. And then, as they grew, the visiting stopped. And then they returned. And then I said, this is not the time to feel cut down like the tree, to count your circles of life, your rings. This is the time to understand you walk with the grace of a helper. And the oldest daughter returned to me and let me know how much she needed me. And we let her move into the house with her new husband. And then she left again. And I knew what I didn't know before, that what I did was the saving grace of my life. The calendar years will show my growth, not to be let down. I do not need to be cut down. My instincts are incredible. One time I was in front of an 8-foot tree ring, and it was a benefit for trees. And the prize was to have a night off in a getaway hotel and a dinner if you could count the numbers of circles in the tree. And I stood and I looked, and my husband said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm instinctually looking at the tree." "Oh, you'll never count those rings." I wrote my number down on a piece of paper and I put it in. And the award goes to Kate Wegrzyn. And I said, "I'm so thankful, but I would like to allow somebody else to go, because I was with somebody that no matter what I was doing, it set me off in doubt. And I don't want to doubt myself. And I look to my friends of Cultivating Voices and other poetry groups, and I say, oh, great, rejoice. You have given your voice to help me grow. I hope my voice has helped you to grow. And when somebody tries to cut you down, there's no frown. Walk tall as the trees. Love, Kate.
I of course could not say what you just said any better than what you just said. Please take over the hosting. Please take over.
This is what was written down.
Go forth, grow forth is my mantra for today. Thank you so much, Kate. I wrote in the chat, benefit for trees would be a fabulous title for something. Well, we now get to go to Monday morning and hear from Mick Mezza, followed by Dinah Kudatsky, whom I'm so glad we've been able to have folks who've been joining us, trying to join us of late. And so it's great to have Mick back, and looking forward to hearing your voice for you this morning. Thanks, Mick.
Hi, can you still see me? No. Am I still there?
You're good. Yep, we got you.
Yeah, I'm on mobile. I try to get on the PC, but it wouldn't work. So here's the poem. The roses I keep in the vase are dying. The halo around the heart is shining. The tree branches in the trees are swaying. And I'm sitting at home with my feet up. The cherry trees bloom in the grove, the red tulips in the line in furrows. There's wildflowers in the desert, and the poppies are early this season. I turn my attention towards the moon, that the sun brightens each clear night, and I can see it smile in the dark, such as the joy it brings these days. I take advantage of holding an empty glass and toast to the cold night air, throw on a jumper for warmth. That's the way it is when stillness takes hold. And the roses remind me that the heart is in the halo whilst the wind rustles the leaves, and I'm enjoying the singing of crickets. Nature's flowers blossom, colours are the same, the light through the prism is a rainbow, and I wish you were here with me, and you wish I was here with you. So where can I find the genie? Is it time for another one? Okay. There's an exodus. First the women, then the men. It's not a gender issue. The fish smell in the hallways. There's a management alteration. The culture remains. The unit has withered. Traditions remain. I remain documenting it. There's misinformation. There's lies. There's fibs. There's deception. The aboves are synonyms. The voice was trapped, organically grew wings, saw the sky, it flew into freedom, it found its friend. The whistle blew, the game begins, out of the oubliette into absurdity. There's winners and losers, there's problem solving, decisions made, smiley faces. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. So good to see you today. And I hope the rest of your Monday blossoms before you. Blossoms before you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as I said, it's so good to welcome folks who'll be reading with us for the first time. And so again, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And you will be followed by our final reader for today, I believe, which will be Kim Ports Parsons. So
thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. This is my first time. I've actually been trying to get on for a couple of weeks. And so I have to put aside my crankiness because I finally am on and joining you, and it's lovely. My last name is Kudatsky. I don't know why it says Rudatsky, but it's like an editorial change, I suppose.
Excuse me, my apologies. Thank you. Particularly on the open mic, I just read what's put in front of me. So thank you very much.
It's not an easy name. It's probably like Smith in Russia, but anyway. So I think I have two poems. I hope I have time for both. The second one is short. I think of them as growth adjacent. Make of that what you will. The first one is I wanted to invent a divinity that was completely worthy of my worship. So this is what I have. Big Mom. Big Mom holds the wounded bird in the palm of her hand. Will you also catch me when I fall, Big Mom? Big Mom's breasts overflow with honey and cream. The world's a Sunday morning buffet, yet we are hungry, Big Mom. Big Mom collects your tears in a golden chalice. She will use them in her next watercolor sunset. Big Mom shines through the face of the old Tibetan monk on his walk. His smile wrinkles spell out her secret hieroglyphs. Big Mom likes to dance with gold bangles and bells. She sways with the go-go booted girl who shimmies at the Metropole. Big Mom calls out your true name in your genitals and your third eye. I am in the secret passage, Big Mom, give me my true name. Big Mom sends babies down like floating feathers. They are diplomats from other worlds who speak a dolphin dialect. Big Mom is Big Mom even when you forget. She stands silent above us like a sequoia. Big Mom sends up blades of grass between the stones at Auschwitz. Her tears made them grow there. They stand in for so many. Big Mom kisses the sole of your foot as you take the hard next step. I will lift myself one more time, Big Mom, if you'll do the heavy lifting. Big Mom owns the lending library of thought forms and voltage. Can you hear her blue-green song under our skin? Big Mom sends down lightning to remind us what we're made of. Every electron becomes a whirling dervish in her honor. Big Mom is good at spinning plates in the air. Love and levity are her principles of physics. Big Mom can take us into the next room at any time. Her mansion has many rooms and we are invited to play. Big Mom straightens up with her dustbuster not to worry, and we thought the world was ending. Big Mom commands us to sigh, to share the lonely air. Give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, coffee talk in Big Mom's kitchen. Big Mom remembers who we were before she sent us here. Here at Sleepaway College, our pictures of home are fading. Big Mom is vibrating the air above our heads as we sit. The gong sounds, we are her dancing stalactites. Big Mom is mixing some balm for our war wounds. It pours out between us when we hold one another. Big Mom is fashioning a jigsaw puzzle of people, animals, stones, trees. She doesn't yet know what it will look like, but her heart is full of hope. Big Mom is proud of her craft work. We are the crystals that dangle from her wonderful, gaudy necklace. The fat round world is your big belly, Big Mom. Our suffering is only your menstruation, Big Mom. The Milky Way swirls with a spin of your peasant skirt, Big Mom. The Pleiades, the diamonds of your smile. Do I have time for another short one?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay,
please.
thank you. It's a shorter one. Thank you. This is called The Dead God versus the Living God. With slippery fingers, you make the sign of the cross, quartering yourself with hungry hands, grasping for me again. Collared and cursing, you invoke the name of the Father. You believe there is a hell after too much pleasure. I will not be nailed. I know a way out of hell. Open yourself for communion, I say. With my torso, I make the sign of infinity against your mouth. Do I silence you? No, I feed you. There is only this moment, this boundless lotus. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you persisted.
Thank you.
And now I hope it will be an easier endeavor to join us for more Sundays.
Hope so as well. I blame Mercury in retrograde, but that's over. So.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, it's always a joy when we can close out a reading. One, to get to our waiting list and to hear a few more voices, and then to have the treat to be today on this theme of growth, to hear from Kim Ports Parsons. Thank you for throwing your hat in the ring to read today.
Thank you. I'm just floating on waves of wonderful poetry. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to read two poems. The first one is called Dream of the Home Place. Dream of the Home Place. The oaks regrown, cornfields stretching to woods, hickory standing, unstruck by lightning. Slam of the screen door, climb to the attic, bare feet parting dust like fish part water. Boxes spill, his pole and rusted tackle, her wedding dress ghost floats by the window. A dull slapping sound, wake against a boat as a storm picks up, and I periscope out of the house. Laundry flaps on the line, silver slashes of sudden summer rain stroke their way up the hill, bending the stalks row by row. And my hair has grown wispy and wild, lifting, swaying in the currents like seaweed, petrichor rising, rushing across the meadow, a benediction. My long gown wraps me like a winding sheet, my beard white and thick as Methuselah's, glinting with bits caught there like shiny lures in a tangled fisherman's line, dangling a seed pod, an old key, a golden charm. When I wake up, the home place is still gone. The garden is still cemented over. There is nothing there now but roads and shops, bleached bone sidewalks, a dense townhouse forest. No watery breezes through high trees there. No orioles weaving a teardrop nest. No fireflies swim in darkening green there. No drops on the sill now. No dear ones, no door. Everything is gone now, but the dry wind of memory against which I lean. I'm going to finish with a brand new poem. I don't think it's finished, but I wanted to share it in light of the incredible sadness and madness gripping our country here in the US. It's called I Can't Write a Poem with a Gun. I can't pick berries with a gun, can't protect my fingers from thorns or poison ivy, or carry the fruit back, or stir in sugar and spice. Can't mix pastry with a gun, or roll it out, or line the pan, or crimp it, or bake it, or lift its sweetness to your tongue. I can't plant seeds with a gun, can't measure the furrow, can't place or sprinkle or sow. Can't hoe any rows with a gun, or carry weeds to the compost pile, or turn the pile over, or sift the new soil, spade it, or build a new garden to sit in. I can't chop fresh greens with a gun, can't slice onions or grate garlic or soak beans or stir the pot. I can't set the table with a gun, or arrange flowers, or light a candle, or pull out your chair, or invite you to partake. A gun won't help me to listen to your story, or see the pictures you're painting on air, to open my heart, or place a warm hand on a quaking shoulder. I cannot lift your pain with a gun or wash away any blood. I can't make a soft bed with a gun or tuck a gun around me for warmth, or wrap arms around my beloved, or kiss a cheek, or stroke the cat, or stretch when I wake, or smell the morning. I can't walk the dog with a gun, or brew the coffee, or read a book, or lace up muddy boots. When a young fox steps lightly, silently into the yard and shakes off the dew from the June meadow and pauses, her nose quivering. A gun will not help me to study her, how she seems to consider so intently which way to turn, how so much might depend on her choice. Where to next in this fraught, this tantalizing world? Love and peace and poetry to you all. May we grow peace in this world.
May we indeed. I hope that that poem will make its way into your new collection. And if not, it'll be in the next collection. Thank you. Well, folks, I decided to throw my hat in the ring, but only because, yeah, thank you. We have a little time, a little bit of time. And when Cynthia said there was a moose sighting, I thought about the community that gathered in this bus ride on an Elizabeth Bishop poem called The Moose. And I'll close us out today with that poem and with gratitude, and I'll remind us all who read after I finish with Elizabeth Bishop's poem, The Moose, because I think about growth as being about how we grow when we're in community with each other. And even the surprise of not knowing we're in community and suddenly realizing it. So this is The Moose, and she dedicated it to one of her relatives, Grace Bulmer Bowers. From narrow provinces of fish and bread and tea, home of the long tides where the bay leaves the sea twice a day and takes the herring's long rides, where if the river enters or retreats in a wall of brown foam depends on if it meets the bay coming in the bay, not at home, where silted red, sometimes the sun sets facing a red sea, and others veins the flats lavender, rich mud in burning rivulets. On red gravelly roads, down rows of sugar maples, past clappered farmhouses and neat clappered churches, bleached, ridged as clamshells, past twin silver birches, through late afternoon, a bus journeys west. The windshield flashing pink, pink glancing off of metal, brushing the dented flank of blue, beat up enamel, down hollows, up rises and waits, patient, while a lone traveler gives kisses and embraces to 7 relatives and a collie supervises. Goodbye to the elms, to the farm, to the dog. The bus starts. The light grows richer. The fog shifting, salty, thin, comes closing in. Its cold, round crystals form and slide and settle in the white hen's feathers, in gray glazed cabbages, on the cabbage roses and lupins like apostles. The sweet peas cling to their wet white string on the whitewashed fences. Bumblebees creep inside the foxgloves, and evening commences. One stop at Bass River, then the economies, lower, middle, upper, 5 islands, 5 houses, where a woman shakes a tablecloth out after supper. A pale flickering, gone, the Tantramar marshes and the smell of salt hay. An iron bridge trembles and a loose plank rattles but doesn't give way. On the left, a red light swims through the dark, a ship's port lantern. 2 rubber boots show illuminated, solemn. A dog gives 1 bark. A woman climbs in with 2 market bags, brisk, freckled, elderly. A grand night, yes, sir, all the way to Boston. She regards us amicably. Moonlight as we enter the New Brunswick woods, hairy, scratchy, splintery. Moonlight and mist caught in them like lamb's wool on bushes in a pasture. The passengers lie back, snores, some long sighs. A dreamy divagation begins in the night, a gentle auditory, slow hallucination. In the creakings and noises, an old conversation, not concerning us, but recognizable somewhere back in the bus. Grandparents' voices, uninterruptedly talking in eternity. Names being mentioned, things cleared up finally. What he said, what she said, who got pensioned, deaths, and sickness. The year he remarried, the year something happened. She died in childbirth. That was the son lost when the schooner foundered. He took to drink. Yes, she went to the bad. When Amos began to pray, even in the store, and finally the family had to put him away. Yes, that peculiar affirmative, yes. A sharp indrawn breath, half groan, half acceptance. That means life's like that. We know it. Also death. Talking the way they talked in the old feather bed, peacefully on and on, dim lamplight in the hall, down in the kitchen, the dog tucked in her shawl. Now it's all right now, even to fall asleep, just as on all those nights. Suddenly the bus driver stops with a jolt, turns off his lights. A moose has come out of the impenetrable wood and stands there, looms rather, in the middle of the road. It approaches, it sniffs at the bus's hot hood, towering, antlerless, high as a church, homely as a house, or safe as houses. A man's voice assures us, perfectly harmless. Some of the passengers exclaim in whispers, childishly, softly, sure are big creatures. It's awfully plain. Look, it's a she. Taking her time, she looks the bus over, grand, otherworldly. Why do we all feel this sweet sensation of joy? Curious creatures, says our quiet driver, rolling his R's. Look at that, would you? Then he shifts gears. For a moment longer, by craning backward, the moose can be seen on the moonlit macadam. Then there's a dim smell of moose, an acrid smell of gasoline. Well, there is the moose for you all, and a bit of community in the Canadian provinces up north. When a community will grow around an event, an unexpected event. Well, we came together today to grow, not around an unexpected event when we come together to hear poetry with each other, but nevertheless, there is always that sensation of joy and awe that I feel when I get to hear the voices of who comes together. And let me remind you of all those voices that we heard from today in our open mic here on our Poets Focused reading on the theme of growth. Well, we heard at the top of the hour, Gordon Ferris, Lesley Traynor, Julian Matthews, Rawle James, Catherine Ronan, Martina McGowan, Cynthia Steele, and thanks for inspiring the moose today in me, Cynthia. J.L. Wright, Isaac Cohen, Eddie Foreman, Kate Clare Wegrzyn, Mick Mezza, Dinah Kudatsky. Okay, there we go. Kim Ports Parsons, and a poem from Elizabeth Bishop in my virtual background here. Thank you all for being here together as we use poetry to encourage our growth, our understanding of how we share our humanity with the other creatures that we cohabitate with in all the various dimensions that we exist among and with. We're here almost every Sunday. I took last week off, but I want to remind you that June is a very, very robust month for us. We will be celebrating Juneteenth together. We will be having our third annual Poetry Pride Parade later this month. So please be on the watch for our event pages. And of course, I send a big shout out to Kim Ports Parsons for all those beautiful graphics that she makes weekly to encourage us to gather in whatever constellation we come together in from many, many different lands. I mean, we had people today from numerous countries and continents in the room, even in this intimate setting of just under 30 people. To have folks from all over the world is astounding. And I'm so grateful that you come from all the different time zones for us to hear your voices as they grow and cultivate. That's what it's about. Well, again, my friends, thank you for being here today. I'm Sandy Yannone, your host, with, again, immense gratitude to our readers and our listeners here in Zoom and those who have been listening on Facebook on our page. I look forward to the next time we're together next Sunday. And again, thanks again to Kim and Don Krieger for holding the space so well, so often, so every Sunday. Take solace, take strength, take joy, take what you can from poetry and allow it to move you forward through this week. And as I say at the end of every reading, when we come together, please be safe out there, my friends. Take very, very good care of your beloveds. And of course, as illustrated today, keep writing those remarkable poems that you bring forth and let grow into the fabric of the world. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take good care.
See you, fellow poets. Stay groovy.
Thanks, all. So great to have you. And I'm going to